Welcome home, Raiders. Tonight, we have to bring up the Elekk in the room as Convert to Raid presents the Battlenet News. Hey guys, and welcome to the Battlenet News. Somebody said, "No, you really don't have to. You don't have to bring up the Elekk in the room. That's fine. No, we're okay. No, we're gonna do it from the CTR command post in Sacramento, California. Today is February 19th, 2019, and it is now 7:10 in the PM Pacific time. Thank you so much for joining us from all around the Blizzard universe. And hello. My name is Pat Krane. I am the host of this show, and as always, the players are here. Both of them on their rating headsets. So, both are from Lagging Balls. So I will just introduce them one after the other. First up, we have Thyst. Hello, Thyst.
Why am I going first?
Because I don't know, just cause.
Rude?
Yeah.
Hello,
Rude.
Patrick.
Isn't it? I don't know. Anyway. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
And also from Lagging Balls, we have Thorn. Hello, Thorn.
Hi there. My name is Thorn, and I approve this message.
Yeah. Well, welcome, guys. It's been a couple of weeks since we last had a chance to chat, and since then, Thyst, you have not vacationed. You've gone to work in California. Not really. You went to California to work for a little bit. Now you're back.
I am back.
Welcome back.
And Thorn, I know that we just talked a couple of weeks ago, but we had to take last week off.
Yes.
It was a very sad week. We are going to talk about it. That is the Elekk in the room that I'm talking about. But before we get into all of that nonsense, I want to see what's going on with you guys. So let's start with. Since you got mad, Thyst, I'll start with Thorn. Thorn, what have you been up to lately?
Oh, hello. I've got a fire team together, and we're restarting Destiny 2, so that's been really fun.
Oh, nice.
Raid prog with the boys and girl.
Nice.
No offense, this.
Yep.
And yeah, that's mostly. Oh, and a bunch of Overwatch. Sometimes really, really, really frustrating, and sometimes really, really satisfying.
Well, that is the way of it, isn't it?
Sure is.
Have you tried the new map? The map that just came out today? No. The new map. So I tried it out a little bit today. Thyst, you tried it out a little bit. The new map is Paris. What did you think, Thyst?
I think it's gorgeous. I like how quirky it is. It's got baguettes and macarons. Yeah. It's got the Eiffel Tower.
And who?
Yeah, you can really mess up the Omnic Butler. Like, you can literally just end him.
Nice.
And it's actually kind of sad. You can really mess up the robots that are, like, cutting the hedges outside.
Yep.
You can really mess up a bunch of, like, Tupperware full of food for some kind of, like, catering service.
Yep.
And, like, completely ruin somebody's day.
There's a purse shop where you could just ruin some bags if you want to do that. There's also
I hate purses.
In one of the starting areas there is a singer on the stage, an Omnic singer, and if you shoot at it, it will stop and restart.
Yeah,
it'll stop and go, "Oh, rude," or something like. I don't speak French, so I don't know what she's saying.
There's a string above her that you can jump on, and somebody can shoot you, and it goes back and forth. It's really fun.
Oh, I didn't see that at all. Gonna have to.
You gotta look up.
Right. Yep, you do have to look around on this one. Mm-hmm. And there's some pigeons on the street, and if you shoot directly at them, just right away, they will flutter their wings, but they won't fly away.
Yeah, and they won't die. And there's two pianos on the map, and they both work.
Yes, so you can shoot
the pigeons.
Yes, they are tank pigeons. And you can shoot the pianos or punch them or whatever, and they will play notes.
Yeah.
So
it's really cool.
So can you only play individual notes if you're like Widowmaker?
I guess.
The best one that we've come up with so far is Zarya's cannon. Just like the zzz part, because it's so precise, like it's pointy at the end.
Oh, yeah. Symmetra might also work.
Yeah, you can shoot a song. Microwave one.
Microwave a song.
That's cool.
That would be great. That'd be great. But yeah, I was using Diva, so I was punching it and shooting it, and it was just going bang, 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 bang. Then you shoot off the rocket barrage. And
Stop shooting rockets all over the keys, Pat.
Yeah, sorry, I ruined it for everybody.
You meant to be in percussion.
Yeah, so it's a fun map, and it's actually I got to play it a little bit. It went live today, so it's all good, and people are trying to figure it out. And I don't know if I've been in a game where somebody won point A, because it's a capture map. So,
oh boy,
yeah. So
yeah, the last assault map was came out like 2017 or something like that.
Wow.
It was Lunar Colony. Yeah, back in 2017.
Oh, was it?
Last assault map, yeah.
Huh.
And the last map period was Busan, and that was like September. I think.
No, that was
It's been a while.
Really?
It's been a while.
And it's been a while.
Been a while. Yeah. Sorry.
Let's not get into that.
Sorry, everybody.
The devil.
Music memes. All right. So anything else going on there, Thorn? As far as stuff going in games?
Oh, I saw Alita.
Alita?
Yeah. Alita Battle Angel, the movie.
Oh, how was that?
It's pretty good.
I thought you meant like
very beautiful,
like a person named Lita. Like
I saw
Lita Ford. I don't know.
Lita Ford. Wow.
I love Lita.
Raise your hand in chat if you understand that reference.
I do.
No googling allowed.
Went to a party last music beams. Anyway. Cool. Awesome. And Thyst, I know that you just got back from California. I briefly alluded to it. What were you doing?
Indeed. I was at the opening week of Overwatch League. I was covering it for my job. I got to interview a bunch of people. Actually asked Paris Eternal what they thought of the Paris map. They thought it was very nice. They thought it was very authentic. I got to do some one-on-ones with Coach Arrow of the Dallas Fuel, and Zachary from Dallas Fuel. I got to interview Big Goose from LA Glads. He was the sweetest thing. Oh, and Zachary was he was just so chill. Like, we finished interviewing him, and we shook his hand, and we're like, thanks, man. It was so cool. And he's like, yeah, so what do you guys think of the thing? And he just like, kind of leans back, and we're like, we're sitting? Okay. Hey, how's it going?
Right.
It was pretty cool. And he just like had a nice conversation with us for a little while. And then he's like, well, I should go see my mom. She's pretty stoked that we just won. And we're like, yeah, go. It's totally, please.
All he wanted to do was just hang out with his mom. You're delaying him.
No, we weren't. He was just really nice.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just a really cool guy.
But the overall experience was amazing. I got to see a lot of people that I love, and I don't know. It was all very surreal, and the games were amazing. Like most of the matchups were really, really close, and so there were a lot of game fives and like made for like really long nights and stuff like that. But everybody at the arena treated media so well. Like, they fed us, and they were nice to us, and they gave us stuff, and they were super helpful. Like, it was
food?
We did get food.
They do that at those types of events. So
they really do.
They don't.
And it was just nice.
Right. They don't want you. What they don't want you doing is writing or talking about how you starved to death while watching the games. They don't want that. So
no, of course not. But but just everybody was just genuinely nice. Like, I even saw Nate Danzer a couple times, and he was nice. Of course, he's nice.
Yeah.
Nate Danzer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to meet Terpster and.
Yes, Terpster was there. We're friends now. I got to go out with the Gregorys. They took me out on the town.
That awesome.
Was cool. Awesome. They took me to a nice dinner. Then we went to Hollywood. We went to a Star Wars bar, and then a piano bar, and then a bar.
and then a tiki bar, and then another bar, and then another bar.
Yeah.
More bars and more places.
Well,
Yeah.
Hollywood's got all the bars, so there you go.
It was an interesting place, yes. But yeah, fun times all around.
Cool.
Definitely recommend. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know that I missed a bunch of stuff this weekend because I couldn't help it. I was out of town doing some things with the wife. And,
Why?
Because
Pat?
because it was a long weekend because of President's Day here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Why else?
Why else, Pat?
And I don't know. The timing
Pat.
was just right. Yeah.
No. I think somebody had a birthday.
Yeah.
That's true. I also had a birthday, so that was very nice. Yep.
I think you had a birthday. I think we might have something for you, Patrick.
Uh-oh.
We sure do.
Uh-oh. Now
We're
I'm
going to
scared.
interrupt what you were up to.
I'm scared. Okay.
Oh, are you ready for this?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably not.
This is something that we just put together like an hour ago. We only practiced it like twice.
Okay.
But this is for you because it was your birthday and we love you.
Okay.
And, chat loves you. We all love you, Pat.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
you ready
thank
for it?
Yep.
Okay. Baby, when we're
grinding, I get
I get so excited. Ooh, you know I like
it. Try, but I can't fight it.
Oh, you
Ooh, you
dance
dancing
real
real
close.
close. Swaying real slow.
You're making it hard
for me.
All the songs that you requested, you're dancing like you're naked. Oh, it's almost like we're sexing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, boo, I like it. No, I can't deny it. But I know you can tell I'm excited.
Oh, Pat! Happy birthday!
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. That was a hot mess.
Yeah, it was horrible, just like you deserve.
Right. That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
I just wanted to sing you a song that would express how we feel about you.
Yes.
That's very nice of you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And it was weird though to like go out and celebrate after the last week's
sure.
weird stuff that happened.
It was weird to do anything, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird to do things that were fun. Like, I was so excited about going Overwatch League until all that happened, and then I was like...
Yeah. And and Jocelyn Moffat, a regular for some of the stuff that we've done here, she got married this last weekend. And so it was like... And congratulations to Joss. Way to go.
Yay!
Obviously. That was awesome. I know that she's been, planning this thing for probably a year.
Oh yeah, at least.
And so, she's now that's out of the way. So now she can relax and get back to talking about games and stuff. So she'll be doing more of that, I'm sure, moving forward. So that's good. But yeah, it was just kind of a weird week. We canceled the show last week because I'm sure that you've all heard by now. But there was some bad news last week, where Activision Blizzard had the, yes, I know, big sigh, had the Q4 earnings call. That's what they call it. The last of the year, they had that, and they said, "Hey, we've shown record profits for 2018. However, we noticed some things, and we were kind of flatlining on what was it on Overwatch and on Hearthstone, kind of starting to flatline, if not decline a little bit. And we know that we don't have any big things coming up for 2019, no big new releases for 2019." And so this year is unfortunately going to be, actually, I'm putting words into their mouth. They didn't say unfortunately. They said, so we're going to be reorganizing. And what that means is, and they said it in the call, in the investor call, that it was going to be 8%. They're going to lose 8% of people in the Activision Blizzard King communities. And it was going to be non-developmental roles, right? And so that means that a lot of the folks that we like in community and publishing and in I don't know, product stuff, in, you know, just kind of around, not the developers. The developers didn't get hit. It was everybody else, essentially.
Yeah.
It's pretty devastating too. And I'm glad that we didn't do a show last week because the initial response was bad. The initial response was all just strictly emotional knee-jerk reactions, and I stayed off of Twitter. I was just like, you know what? I feel sad.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, I think. These are our friends. Some great community managers lost their gigs, the people that we know and love, and some people that were longtime Blizzard employees got the axe as well. Some people in PR and event stuff, and it was just kind of, it seemed pretty cruel and unusual. So it was a hard time. And I know that most of you guys probably already know this. Most of you guys that listen to this show probably already know this. Because you probably get your information from other folks. And I think that some other folks had some really good things to say about it, like Taliesin and Nevatel had some really great things to say about it. The Instance had some really great things to say. And I know that a lot of people got it. I wouldn't say wrong, but they took the emotional side of it and made it a little bit bigger, and maybe it just takes a little bit of time to develop a little better sense of what was said and what was done. And I mean, it's still harsh and still hurts and still sucks. Not going to lie about that.
Yeah.
How did you guys react?
Not well.
Right.
We canceled our show as well. But that was a few days before it happened, and we thought that we'd heard that it would be like 200 people. No, first we heard that it would be in publishing, esports, and something else, and then we heard that it would be at least 200 people.
And this was before the actual announcement on Tuesday. There were leaks on like Thursday or Friday of the week prior, right?
Yes, and it just. I remember we usually talk about an episode of Lagging Balls before we do it, just a little bit to see, you know, what we were interested in talking about. And Thorn and I had a long conversation about it, and we were both getting really emotional because on our show, at least, we try to stay positive about Blizz stuff, and people call us Blizzard apologists all the time, and that's, you know, not something that we're upset about. It's fine. But we couldn't.
And here's what I'll say about that. For those guys that try to stay positive on the games that they love, guess what? It's because you're passionate about it. You love this stuff. You want to make sure that it continues to flourish and grow as much as possible, and you want to celebrate the things that you love. So,
well put.
Why wouldn't you? Right?
Absolutely.
That's why we do this show. Yeah.
We were getting emotional about it. We realized that we didn't have enough information, and we didn't want to go making a show, you know, on one side, on, you know, the side that we're usually on, which is like Blizzard can do no wrong, because obviously, like you said, human emotions were going to be involved, human lives were involved, our friends were involved. So we didn't want to keep up our usual Blizzard positivity, but we also didn't want to, you know, naysay Blizzard and doomsay everything without any information. So we decided not to do the show, but what we did instead was we asked everyone in the community if they would accept, you know, hanging out with us in voice chat for an hour while we talk this through before it happens, and just sort of like gauge our feelings about this, because it just seemed like everybody was really upset and confused, and maybe it would help if we all just got together and talked about it. And not a lot of people talked, but a lot of people showed up. I'm glad that I did it, because trying to express myself, I just kind of kept talking in circles, because again, I didn't have enough information, and like this whole situation it's not polarizing, it's just very confusing, because you can see two clear sides and like why each side is right in the way that it's acting, but putting those two things together doesn't add up. So it's hard to move forward with like, okay, this is right and this is wrong, because neither is right and neither is wrong. Luckily, we had an ex-Blizzard employee in the chat who kind of reassured us that Blizzard does this kind of thing. Not often, but sometimes. I think 600 people were let go after Titan failed. And those people, were well compensated and got a large severance package. And this ex-employee explained that, like, if you have Blizzard on your resume, it's not going to be difficult for you to find another job. It's kind of like a golden ticket. And, like, it doesn't help, but it does help,
Sure.
And we had a Blizzard employee, like a current one, in the chat as well, who reached out to us afterwards and said, I couldn't really say anything, but if anybody had said something that wasn't true, I would have spoken up about it, or at least told you. So,
right.
So that was comforting too. So we had that little powwow, I guess, and we were kind of ready to go into whatever was going to happen.
Okay.
And then it happened, and it wasn't just some people in publishing and esports. It wasn't just 200 people. It was 800 people. And a lot of people that we know personally were directly affected by it.
Sure.
And
yeah,
the thing that got me the most, I think, the thing that got me most upset was seeing the posts from people who literally said something like, "This was my dream, and now my dream is gone." And for so many of us, a lot of us in the content creation business, we're doing this because, working at Blizzard is a dream of ours. That it would be if Blizzard came up to us and said, "You're hired," we would literally drop everything and move over there and live and work and be passionate about it every single day. Like,
right.
we'd walk past the orc statue every single day and get butterflies in our stomach, because, like, that is our passion and that's what we want to do. And those people worked hard to get that, just as we all are.
Yep.
And now it's gone. And I couldn't get the image of somebody, like, I tried to put myself into their shoes and, like, could you imagine walking past that orc statue for the last time?
Oh God.
Driving away?
Yeah, it's tough, and for those guys who have been let go for whatever reason, I worked in radio, so of course I got fired at least once. And so, it's walking past everything for that last time and trying to really get your bearings while you're leaving. And I know that, that there were some people that were super passionate about on the community side, for sure. I mean, like Caden from WoW,
yeah.
Yisthins, or I don't remember how to pronounce his name. And Lashes from a couple of different communities, right? I mean, these are ones that really kind of are a big gut punch for us as creators. We can say we interface with those people a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, well, now what's going on?
Exactly.
So
we don't have a point of contact anymore. Really,
it's tough, and I know that a lot of as long as we're talking about creators, a lot of creators were kind of upset by this, and obviously, I mean, as we all have been, and I know that Gizmo was one of those dreamers of working at Blizz and everything like that, and now because of those cuts, because of what they see coming for Heroes of the Storm, Lords of the Storm is ending tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that podcast is going away. And it's purely because they lost all of their passion for, I mean, the air was let out of the balloon, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And so they are going to be ending their show tomorrow. And I was trying to get Gizmo on the show tonight because I wanted him to have a chance to talk to everybody here and kind of let out whatever he wants to let out, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no thanks, that's all right. I think crying once on the internet is, in a week is probably the most I want to do. So I'm like, okay, I
can understand that.
I can totally get that. So make sure to check out Lords of the Storm this week for sure. I mean, it's going to be a bittersweet thing for those guys, but I mean, they did, over 4 years of shows and they've really tried to stick with Heroes of the Storm, especially after the the whole HGC stuff got let go at the end of last year, and they were like, nope, we're still here, we're still playing, you know, we're still gonna do a show, and then this stuff happened, and they're like, I don't even know what's going on anymore, because Heroes of the Storm basically is getting retooled. Well, it's not, the game isn't getting retooled, but the staff is. I mean, it seems like there are some big changes underway for those guys.
It seems like Heroes is on life support at this point.
Yep. And
it's just,
and I mean, maybe that's something that needed to happen with that game, because it's been struggling to get some, I don't know, to get people playing it, or I don't know exactly what their metrics are. So it's hard for me to say.
Someone said that they didn't expect it to be an esport. I would leave it to the Lords of the Storm guys, Gizmo and them, to know more about that than I do. I find that strange, since they were coming into a scene that was created off of their engine that was already an esport.
Right.
So that I don't know how accurate that is. That's hearsay on my end, but I can understand seeing something burgeoning, trying to put more resources into it, waiting for it to work, trying to help it work, finding that it doesn't work, and having to pull some of those plugs.
And they did that for 2 years for HGC. So, I mean, obviously they know what they're looking for out of that, and they weren't getting it, whatever it was.
That's what I tend to think as well, but it's also, when you put it together with the rest of this, it's harder to know that, because out of context, it seemed like that was the clear reasoning. But in the context of the greater shifts and adjustments and the business changes, it's really hard to tell if this isn't, again, more related to the business side.
Right. And the business side, there are, I know that there are a lot of people in chat, and they are talking about bigwig fat cats and, you know, multi-million-dollar payouts and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's unfortunately in America, that's what it takes to be competitive. Because if you don't pay out those kinds of things, I don't know how it happened, but it happened, and now it's a thing. And now it's a thing that every large company needs to do to be able to get quality talent in there. And I know that people are going to jump on that and say, well, Bobby Kotick is not really talented, you know, whatever. And it's like, okay, whatever. But it's the life of corporate America, is that you have to pay a lot for the top end. And usually when you have layoffs like this, guess who gets the raw end of the deal? And that's those guys that are working as contractors, and the guys that aren't full-time hires, that won't get severance like the rest of them. And they won't get, I mean, and all the guys that are low enough on the totem pole so that, you know, they feel like they can move some stuff around. And I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's
not just corporate America either. That also happened with the government shutdown.
Right. And it's the same type of thing. And it really, and I think that, you know, that on top of everything else has really got people in America going weird. And for those guys that are listening to us in the UK, let me just say one word: Brexit. And then we'll all be angry.
Okay. Oh, all right.
We'll all be angry.
Home to Canada. Bye.
So I mean, and all of this stuff sucks.
Can I? I found a short post on Reddit that really kind of explained, because we all know what Bobby Kotick said about having like the achieving the highest revenue in history, you know, and then after that, explaining why he needed to let go of 800 people. So it's revenue, not profit.
All right.
They expect it to drop by 13% within the next year because they're not producing enough games. To this extent, they fired 800 non-developer personnel so they can hire more developers to make more games. So that's basically why this happened. Blizzard is not making any new games this year. and we know that now. They're working on tons of stuff, but all of that stuff is not coming out this year. So this year they need to really focus on making more and hiring people to work on what they have already. And so they kind of countered that by just getting rid of people who weren't directly working on advancing the games. It was just everyone else. And like, that's certainly not to say that those people in those positions aren't extremely important, because obviously they are. And as a Blizzard content creator or whatever the heck we are, those were the most important things, you know, like just the people who helped out with the community and were here to listen to us, and we're here to, I don't know, validate our existence, I guess. But I think after reflecting on it a lot, I've realized that it's all very confusing, because like if we didn't put so much emotional investment into Blizzard, this wouldn't be a problem. Yes, it would be sad that people lost their jobs, but we probably wouldn't know about those people. We wouldn't be following them on Twitter. Like, let's just pretend, and I use this analogy a lot, but like, let's just pretend that Blizzard is Walmart. Do we know any higher ups at Walmart? Do people follow people who work at Walmart on Twitter? Like, sure. Like, do people watch them stream? Do people know about their personal lives? Do people watch them do esports stuff? Like, do people aspire to work at Walmart? I mean, sure, yeah, but not to the extent that we did with Blizz and do with Blizzard. And so, since we are so emotionally invested into what Blizzard puts out, we have emotional stake in all aspects of this company. Sure. And with Overwatch blowing up a few years ago, that company has been forced into a bigger universe, and it's suffering, but not at the same time. It has to suffer for its own sake right now. And that would be totally fine, and it would make total sense if it was a bank, if it was Walmart. But since we are emotionally invested, and since we know the people who are directly affected by it, we're upset and we're angry, and we're wondering why this is happening, and it seems unfair. And it is on that side where we love Blizzard and we love the things that they put out and we love the people. We don't want anything bad to happen to any Blizzard employee. We don't want anybody to lose their jobs. We don't want anybody's dreams to end. But on the other side, we want Blizzard to succeed. We understand that it's just business, and we understand that this is what large businesses do to grow. And someday, not now, not soon, not in the next year probably, but someday we'll be happy that Blizzard is a big, successful company with lots more games. But now that's kind of tainted, you know, because of this. And I think, so that's why most of us are feeling so confused about it, because if we look at one side logically, it makes sense. If we look at the other side emotionally, it makes sense. And therefore, like, these don't work. Like, when you put them together, it doesn't work. And then you're left feeling confused and kind of betrayed, but also not. And like, you log into Azeroth and you're in there, and that's your escape, and that's your game, and that's where you have fun. But at the same time, like, you can't help but think about all the people who used to help make this your escape.
Yep. You know, it's really funny because when we started this show, and I'm sure that when you started your show, right, you do it because you love whatever aspect of the game you love, and you're just like, I want to do this because it would be fun, and because I like talking to other people, and I kind of want to figure this thing out. And then you get your community going, and you're going, oh my God, the community is so great. Blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is really awesome. And then you start really kind of investing even more of yourself into the company and into the games that you talk about. And so then you start to really get to know people like Taryn Gregory and other such folks. and so it's, and Lore and the community managers, and you start talking to these people, and you start emailing them because you have things that you want to talk about, and so yes, so then it becomes kind of political when something like this happens, and personal for that matter. You know, it's pretty tough, and I know that it's not just Blizzard, it's not just the Blizzard universe that's getting hit with this stuff. It's also Activision. It's also going to be King King actually shut down their Seattle studio, which was 78 jobs. I know that Blizzard. Okay, so this comes from Patrick from The Instance, their show that just happened on Friday. He said that it was up to 130 people being let go in Blizzard NA, I believe, and up to 400 in Europe. But Europe has different laws, so I don't know exactly what's going on. And I know that there was also and I know that there's talk of severance pay and all this kind of stuff. And I know that Blizzard just made a filing today, one of those legal things that they have to make, where they said, hey, we're going to be spending $150 million doing this reorganization thing. So, I mean, all these numbers are being thrown around and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like so unreal and you can't piece it together in your head.
It's really hard to grab the context of all of those things. I think the part that strikes me the most, Pat, is that we are extremely passionate about this, mm-hmm. like you said. I mean, you don't have, to Thyst's point, you don't have people in every industry creating content around those industries necessarily, because I want somebody making a podcast about my local Walmart though after that. Right? Right?
Do
you know what Gene said on the PA the other day?
But I feel like it'd be more about I feel like there is content about Walmart, but it's probably very negative about the corporate structure and the Koch brothers or any of the conspiracy theories or any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that's what I mean is it takes a fandom to create content around the love and the passion part. Mm-hmm. And that's why those of us who are involved in this conversation tend to be the ones who are more caught up in this and are affected emotionally by it and know people involved in that sort of thing. Yep. And it's to me, I feel like the two issues at play are the juxtaposition of record revenues, sorry, not profits.
Yep.
And the layoffs, and it's hard to justify or to really separate those two.
Well,
it's important to.
Let me try to help you do that a little bit. So now, when I think of what bigwig corporate execs do, they're looking out for the future of their company, mm-hmm. right? Not necessarily about what's happened in the past. They have charts and forecasts, and they know what their games are doing. They know what's in development, and they know what the schedule's looking like. And I don't know what happened, but there seems to be a hole in the calendar for 2019 where something should be. Right? I mean, it seems like if they're saying we're not planning anything new for 2019, but we know that they've got all these things in development.
And we know that because of all the personnel moves over the past few years,
and
not just the past year.
And yes, we've got Diablo Immortal, which had, let's say, mixed reviews on the announcement. And we also have Classic coming up, and we also have Warcraft 3 coming up. But those are kind of like issuing old stuff again as new. Right. Which is cool. I'm all for it. But they don't have anything. They don't have a new IP, or they don't have a brand new game to share with the world. And so it seems like there might be a gap in the calendar, maybe. And if so, maybe there was something going on with production where they just said, you know what, this game isn't ready and we need more time.
Yeah,
and that means unfortunately that they're gonna take a hit. I don't know if this is just my supposition. My
but that's
thoughts.
One of the biggest problems, isn't it? None of us have any information, and they shouldn't give us any. They don't owe us any information. No. This is a business. This isn't us being angry about a patch in WoW.
We would love transparency.
Yes,
we would love transparency. And so would all of the other gaming companies out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, it's kind of one of those things.
Brought up Diablo.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of, not just that, but a lot of things like that and what happened to HTC, etc., Mike leaving, do you think that definitely sparked some kind of paranoia and frantic nature in people, and I think that I honestly think that if none of that had happened, but then this had happened, it would have been just a little bit less devastating. No, it would have been as devastating, but it wouldn't have set people into a frenzy like it did.
Well, so I don't think of, so I know a lot of these people. I know of a lot of these people, and I've met some of these people like Mike and others. And I believe in my heart that they're good people, that they are looking out for the best for their company, for their employees, for the longevity of the games, everything. You know, I believe that I will give them every benefit of the doubt on that matter. So I am not going to go into this with a paranoid thing. However, like you said, with Mike leaving, it does kind of lead you to go, well, I don't know what happened there. And I'm not going to try to lay out that, backstory all of a sudden. I'm not going to just say, oh, let's just say that he's wanted to get out because the getting was good, or, whatever. Because I don't know what happened. And
no, none of us do, obviously, but
right.
you can see some patterns based on some of the people who left.
Sure.
And you can see that some of those founding members, some of the people who are the root and of some of the heart and some of the basis of the trajectory that Blizzard took in its early days and the values that it espoused throughout. And you see those people start to leave, and everybody's felt badly about that.
Sure.
Nobody's seen Metzen leave and felt good about that, and everybody's been scratching their head about that. Everybody has wondered, and everybody has felt like there might be something coming.
See now, I would defer to people that know him best. From what I understand, it was kind of a burnout thing. And when you're a creative, that's all you got, man.
Absolutely.
It's like that is all you've gotten. As soon as you hit that point where you just feel like you can't give it 110% every single day, man, that it starts to really weigh on you and everything like that. So I would guess that probably had the biggest thing to do with it. Although for the fans, it hurt, and I'm sure for him it hurt as well. And so it was really nice seeing him at BlizzCon. So this year,
lucky.
So it was good. It was good.
Well, I just like. I don't think there's any doubt about the business side.
Sure.
If you are an investor listening to this podcast, you probably don't feel too badly about this, honestly.
Well, yeah.
Maybe a major investor, I should say, because I own stock and I still feel horrible about it.
Sure. I own a little bit of stock myself, and I was like, well, this still is terrible. Yes. Yep. But at the same time, I kind of, from a high level view where you can't see any of the faces that are affected, you can't see any of the people. All you see are numbers and teams, and try to figure out what, moving chess pieces around and trying to figure out what your play is. I mean, I don't know. They want to put out games, right? And they probably need more developers for that. So they're going to bolster their developers, and that the cuts have to come from somewhere, because they're not going to be making.
No, see, I don't agree with that at all.
It's going to be a flat year.
Completely disagree with that. Here's the reason why.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're going to lay off that many people, you do not need to do it all at once. You can spread that out over a period of time, and nobody would probably be the wiser, honestly, because they've done that before.
They've also laid off 600 people before in 2012. Right. So they've done
there just wasn't enough noise about, apparently. So. And then the second part is that we're not talking about like a loss here. We're not talking about this major year where there were huge losses and the company's in trouble or something like that, where it would almost be understandable that they'd be making these cuts. You just said the words, these cuts need to come from somewhere. Well, do they?
Well,
because what we're talking about is the difference between a profit margin and projections, and those are not things that are like an immediate impact where things can't be done differently. That's my major problem with it, Pat, is I feel like even if you're going to do it, you could have done it as more of a human and less of a robotic corporation.
Sure. That's always the case. And let me explain my answer, because it may not have been clear. So,
I wasn't pointing at you.
No. I want to make myself clear to everybody. So it's not just you. But what I'm saying is that from a high up view, where you have a year that is going to be, you already know it's going to, without a major release, you know that you're going to be taking a hit. And with the word coming out about Overwatch and Hearthstone being a little in a slump, we'll say, you know that it's going to be kind of a down year, right? And if you want to produce more games so that you can, pick it up a little bit on the building side of things, you need to, and this is all very business side oriented. So it's,
of course,
just trying to look at it on the paper,
of course,
and just say, okay, well, if we know that we're going to take a hit this year, where is that going to come from? And we want to build up stuff. Where is that going to come from? I am not trying to be play the thing of, oh, this was totally needed and awesome and whatever.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks that.
No, nobody thinks that. Let's
nobody
hope not.
thinks that, but everybody understands that. I don't want to say that this was necessary, but where they're coming from makes sense, and what they're going after makes sense.
Yeah,
and that's the part that really sucks. And it also really sucked that this information got leaked, and that everybody was living in fear, especially the people who worked there. Like those tweets from Blizzard employees the night before, were heart-wrenching.
Oh yeah. No, and unfortunately, there were a lot of things that were wrong with that, and it came at the end of a thing that was. It came at the after BlizzCon, after Mike leaving, after all this other stuff, where we're just like one thing after another, and it seems like we're tumbling a little bit.
Yeah,
I think that this to me says this is where we're stopping. This to me says, oh my God, this is, because it's so terrible, right? For all the employees and for community folks and for us and for our friends and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, okay, this has got to be it, right?
Well,
this has got to be
that's
it.
literally what I said a couple weeks ago. I was like, okay, is this the worst thing that's going to happen? Because it has to be the last thing. Like, we've definitely hit rock bottom, and now we can start building back up. But then this happened.
Well, the thing that we will start seeing is developers more developers come into the fray, which is good for all of the. We hear that they have a lot of projects out, so that's good.
Of course,
they need more folks there, so that's.
We don't want to not welcome and congratulate these new developers just because of what happened.
Yeah.
But like I said before, it sucks that like all of the things going forward are just a little bit tainted, and nothing in Blizz, at least to me, has ever felt like that before.
Yeah.
And going forward, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that, but that kind of leads me to the most important point, I think.
What's that?
And that's if you can, don't stop playing Blizzard games, and don't stop being positive in the community, and don't stop being positive on social media. Don't cancel your sub. Don't give up on Blizz, because there are still so many people working there that worked just as hard as the people who got let go, who are still working hard, probably even harder now. And none of this is their fault, and they're going to stay because it's still their passion, and it's still what they love, and they still want to make amazing games for us and to allow us to have a good time. And if you cancel that sub, and if you give up on Blizz, you're giving up on the people who are spared, and they don't deserve that.
Right.
Like, none of it was in their hands. And I know, at least for me, like, there are so many people working at Blizzard or who involved in Blizzard who I absolutely love. And, some of those people on that day, I had to text and be like, hey, are you still Are you okay? And they're like, yes, but I feel terrible.
Right.
Like, this has been the first day. I just lost my team. I just lost my friends. I don't know what to do. And those people still need our support and still need us to play the game. They still need us to buy the merch if we like it, to buy the mounts if we like them, to make these podcasts, to encourage other people to try the game if they've never have, and not demonize the games that are coming up, because after all this, like,
oh boy.
And if you like any video game from any video game company, just look at the video game company and look at their past. Look at Disney. Look at its past. Look at any big corporation and look at its past, and you'll find things that you don't like about it. Look at Apple. Yeah. There are things that you won't like about either the founder or the company or how they treated staff at one point or another, and now. And it's not even that Blizzard has joined it. It's already been a part of it, and now we're just reminded that Blizzard is a part of that. Yeah. And so that's also tough, because it's been a long time since we've had to talk about that. And it was really funny. So, not funny, not funny, but when this happened in 2012, when they laid off 600 people from Blizzard. We were a young show at that point. We had been around for maybe 6 months when that happened. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. We didn't say a word about it. And now we're talking about it. And I think that's just because of the way that people connect with the company. Really. And that says a lot about the company when you have this many people that care about it, where you say, you know what, and I'm looking at chat, and chat is going crazy right now, talking about all sorts of different things, all sorts of mostly on topic things.
But that's the frustrating two-headed dragon of the two things going on here, right? The one side, them being a corporation, the other side, them being one of the exceptions, where you have this rabid, passionate fan base. Yeah. And this kind of action flies directly in the face of that. And at the end of the day, for me, I think it was a really difficult wake-up call. Not as difficult as the people who are going through it, of course. Yeah. But a difficult wake-up call from the outside, being connected to this community and hearing the community and caring about the community, including those people, that we have to step back and and remember that Blizzard had a fantastical fairy tale of a rise as a company. They did the thing that is the dream of every young company, which is to be successful and be able to write their own checks and take their own path and set their own course. And there's not a lot of companies who get to do that. Right. And along the way, they developed this ethos and this fan base because they were good people, down to earth, treating their employees like good people who are down to earth, making things that they love, throwing them away when they don't work, right, trying again in a different direction. All these things that you expect out of a young, nimble, almost studio type company, that a lot of which go out the window when you become a giant corporation. Right. Because when you're a small house, you can do things your way, but when you become a corporation, especially a public corporation, that profit part is the Elekk in the room. Sure. That's the thing that we're really talking about here. That's the root of all of this.
Well, and so I've got a couple of things. First of all, Dazzledorn in chat says we lost our innocence, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? That actually kind of resonates a little bit. And then get fiddle, is that it? Says cough Activision cough, and I'm like going, no, Activision Blizzard is one company. Yeah. Activision Blizzard is one company. You can't, if you're saying Activision, you're saying Activision Publishing or Activision Games or whatever. And that's okay. And if you're saying Blizzard, you're saying Blizzard Games, basically. Yeah. And
that's not new.
If you're saying Activision is a bad thing, you're talking about the corporate structure, which is Activision Blizzard. Use the whole thing, because I mean, let's not be innocent anymore on this stuff, right? I mean, let's not play it like it's like Activision is the problem. No, it's all one company. So, and now they're retooling everything. They're making sure to manage their teams differently so that they can have this different take where they can say, okay, you know what? we're a game company. We need to make more games. Let's make more games. Okay. And if you like the game, play it. And if you don't. And if you're using this as a way to quit a game, don't. I mean, if you like the game, just play it.
Yeah, and if you don't need our permission. You can go.
No. And really, I mean, any reason is valid, I guess. But
right.
But at the same time, it's like, why are you looking to outside sources whether or not you should play a game? Just play it or don't, and it's fine.
Yeah. The only people talking about this stuff are the people who are wildly zealot levels of fans of brands like this,
and those guys are playing Apex Legends right now. That's the weird part.
Well, that's because you can play everything. You don't have to play just Blizzard games exclusively.
No, I know, but EA is always notoriously like this bad company. But now everybody's playing Apex, so it's like, all right, okay,
yeah, that's rough.
If you make a good game, just play it. I don't know.
I mean, look, that's above my pay grade. I'll leave this to the suits in Washington. But at the end of the day, I mean, all of our hearts go out to all the people affected by this, whether you feel like it was right or not.
Yes.
Whether you feel like profit is a good reason or not, whether you feel like, whatever you feel about it is valid. There's no wrong answers here. As participation trophy as that sounds, the reality of it is this is a thing that happened, and it's about how we deal with it. And everybody's answer to that is a valid thing.
Sure. And yes, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And hopefully, we brought up some points that maybe you hadn't thought of before or didn't know about before or whatever. I'll try to put some links to different stories that I saw over the last week in the show notes so that you can see what I was seeing anyway. So I know that there's
you have some great sources, Pat.
There's a bunch of stuff out there. And I think there's a Polygon article that was talking about, this type of stuff maybe a little bit more concisely than we did over the course of the last hour, I guess. Oh boy. We've been talking about an hour. Oh geez.
Oh, there's a lot to say.
There is. Yeah. There is.
This is the most important thing to happen definitely this year and probably within quite a while, honestly.
Probably.
Yeah.
But
yes.
I think
people listen to this show because they care as much as well. So this is as big a deal to them.
Sure.
Yes, and if you still care about Blizz, don't give up on Blizz. Don't give up on the people still working at Blizz. And, for the people who aren't working there anymore, show them support. Like I've seen so much of the community, sharing job openings and reposting and retweeting. And there's been some fundraising and just a lot of well-wishing. And like that's the kind of stuff that's the only stuff that's going to make any of this better, because like we can't turn back time. We can't get these people their jobs back, but we can certainly help them find their next adventure. And we can just hope that because of what they've done and what they've contributed and, all of the passion and all of the hard work that they've shown, like they will get another position that's equally or even better. And that this never happens to them again.
Yeah, and the good news is Blizzard is really devoted to helping those departing people with not only severance packages, but job coaching, the resources they need to get out there and get something new. And so many of the companies reached out in the midst of this social media storm that followed all of this. There were so many companies saying, hey, our hearts go out. Here's our openings.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like the best possible thing that they could say.
And you brought up something that this SEC, the official filing today from Activision Blizzard said, part of this money that we're paying out, this $150 million is 65% is for above and beyond severance pay. That's what, that's kind of how they positioned it, at least on the filing. That we're really trying to make sure that we're taking care of our at least the full-time employees that were let go. I don't know how that works out for everybody else, but for contractors and so on. But yes, it really does seem like they are trying their best amidst all of this blackness and BS.
That's an important silver lining because
to at least give them a little bit of something to hold on to, right?
Right. And let me give you some context to that. There are a lot of digital media companies are suffering right now. There's a lot of them who are downsizing, who are laying off content creators, and that is industry agnostic. That is the digital content community at large, big ones that you know about. And some of the stuff that blew up a few months ago had to do with one of those companies, and it's not important which, that was laying off a large amount of people. And the issue there that a lot of the vocal journalistic people were bringing up, which are the last people you want speaking publicly because they're very eloquent, the things that they were bringing up were about whether or not they were going to get their full amount of things like vacation pay or sick days or things like that also paid out. Now that's the worst thing in the world that you want to have brought to light to be haggled over. Yeah. This is not what Blizzard is doing. So in the midst of the hurt and the loss of innocence, if you will, about, oh yeah, this is a company and they make business decisions that suck sometimes really badly.
Yeah.
There also is some still heart in the midst of this. There is some silver lining because they are still trying to treat these people as human beings, which they are not obligated to do. Right. And that does not serve profit. So
this doesn't make it better, but could you imagine if they hadn't done that?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing that could be good coming out of this is that, I mean, for us as gamers, as people that play Blizzard games, is that hopefully, because they're going to be adding to their development team, that could mean for some really cool new games coming up sooner than they would have if they hadn't done this, which is both good and depressing.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's this mixed bag of emotions. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And especially because I've got fair warning for all of you out there. You know, they are going to come out with a lot more games. They're going to come out with some really successful games. But unfortunately, if you think about some of the things that have been successful lately, it has to do with microtransactions and
Battle Royale
mobile games.
Yeah.
And Battle Royale. So, you know, there's a lot of split opinions on all these things. They are going to go down the path of some of these things. I don't have any insight into that whatsoever. This is purely a guess.
Sure.
But at least when you're talking about something that needs to make profit, then those are the things that have proven the model in the industry.
I am Beetlejuice says, WoW Pet Battle Mobile. And I would say yes, but WoW Pet Battle Mobile Battle Royale. WoW Pet Battle Royale Mobile. So
that doesn't make it.
God, please no.
So that's what's coming up. But I mean, you know, assuming that that BlizzCon will be a thing because it's a big thing this year, and it does.
I think
it does very, very well every year. So I'm guessing we're going to have another. I think
this is going to be, like, in terms of announcements, the biggest BlizzCon ever.
Do you have some insight on that? Do you have any insight on that? I don't know.
I don't have.
I have people like whispering in my ears going, no, that means that this year is going to be really great as far as BlizzCon goes. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true.
Well, at the beginning of the year, even before that, I think it was when Jab ascended to the presidency.
The throne.
Yes, he made a blue post about their plans going forward, and he mentioned that there were several new projects in the works, and he said several.
Right.
I mean, that's like several. You know, that's not like one or two. That's a lot, and we know that they're not releasing any new games this year, so we know that they let go of 800 people who aren't devs to hire 800 devs. So we can only deduce that, like, there has to be at least several new games being announced at BlizzCon this year, or a few new games, and all of the IPs that are, inactive right now are going to have major announcements.
All I want to hear during the Diablo stuff is I actually don't even want to hear it. It's the same thing that I wanted to see at BlizzCon last year. Just like a single frame of like a flash of this number 4. That's all I want to see.
Yeah. They can say nothing and just do that.
Right. Just do that and then walk off the stage. Just that's it. That's all I need.
He's like a guy wearing a giant costume of a number 4, just sort of like his little face is sticking out.
Please be that guy.
He's like
please
walking around in the background.
There.
Oh, that would be
and
great.
And like 4 little like firecrackers go off, like pop, 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 pop.
That would be awesome.
Super underwhelming.
Yeah. And then he like walks off, and then he like falls over.
Yeah.
And his arms and legs are waving.
He can't get up.
And then more firecrackers go off.
Oh boy.
We just wrote that for you. There's a winning BlizzCon for you, Blizz. You're welcome.
Oh, poor 4.
Oh, poor 4. I am number 4.
Yeah.
That was a horrible movie. No, so I think I don't know, any parting thoughts on this, guys? I mean, we've now that we've made fun of the number 4.
Poor 4.
Poor 4.
I think we can agree that this is a terrible situation all around.
Yes.
And I know that I can speak for all 3 of us when I say that, this is not a laughing matter that when it comes to the people who lost their jobs. No. This is not cool. We can understand the gravity of the situation for the people whose lives got uprooted and completely changed. And that's not cool. And we're not for that. We're not advocating that. We're not looking for excuses on that part. That's just, it's awful.
Right.
It's awful for them.
Yep.
But I think I can speak for all 3 of us again when we say that, like, we are still committed to supporting Blizzard because of all of the people remaining that we still love and the games that we still love. And we're hoping that we have indeed reached the last straw. Like, this is the bottom of the ocean. The only way to go is up from here.
Let's hope so.
Please, Blizzard, can this just be the last bad thing? Can we just start, licking our wounds and moving forward and upward?
Right. That would be
nice.
That would be nice. That'd be nice.
Do it for the podcasters, Blizz.
Yeah,
please.
Throw us a freaking bone here.
I thought it was bad when we were in a dry spell when I don't know, Warlords and
stop hating on Warlords.
Well, the end of Warlords was far too long. Let's just say it that way. It was a year and a half without new content, and I thought that was bad. And now I'm like, oh no, now we have too much, and it's all bad, and it's all been very bad. I don't like talking about bad things. I mean, we kind of had that funny little bit of "Don't Panic" a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, whatever it was, and now I'm like going, maybe it should have been Panic, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was kind of it was "Don't Panic," but oh God, I don't like talking about this stuff. And I think I'm drained.
Yeah.
From all this stuff. So maybe
and you spent
and I'm spent. All right. Maybe we should get out of here, and I'm not going to play the funny music. I'm not going to do any of that stuff because this sucks. So I don't feel like the happy music is the way to go out here. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about? And is there anything that's coming up for you guys that you wanted to pimp on the show?
Well, we took 2 weeks off the first week because of what happened, and this past week because I was at Overwatch League. But we'll be back this weekend. Okay. We're going to talk about this a little bit, but I think we've pretty much said everything that we can possibly say about it.
Sure.
Sure.
So just refer them back to this show.
You got it.
And then
absolutely.
We'll get more hits. Get some more hits on this show. And if you want
get all the bad stuff, Pat, right? You can take all this.
Well,
this
but you can.
BS,
but you get the stupid
ours.
stuff. So if you, by the way, if you guys want to see something stupid, just watch the Lagging Balls stream from a few weeks ago when I was on there, because that was stupid.
That was probably one of the best.
That was probably one of the dumbest things
Friday Nights
ever.
with Fist and Thorn
the
ever.
Best show we've ever done.
Oh boy. So you can go over to the twitch.tv/laggingballs and go check out their back catalog of videos over there. So that was dumb. That was so dumb.
And I'd just like to say, since we'll be doing our show after it happens, all all of our love and support to the Zords, and we hope that everybody watches the last episode of Lords of the Storm. It started just a little bit before Lagging Balls did, and we always kind of felt sort of a kinship with those guys. They were there at our first BlizzCon, and they made us feel like we were legit podcasters and part of a community, and we've been completely in love with the three of them for years and years, and we know that this was not an easy decision for them. But
hopefully we'll be able to get some or all of them on this show at some point, because I know that they're not just the guys anyway. They're not just into Heroes of the Storm. They're into other Blizzard games. They're into. Right. I mean, they're in the life, right? They're in the community, and so I want to make sure that we get their voices on here as well, because I think that those guys are really smart, and
they really are.
And this isn't the end for them either.
No,
like they're going to be doing other stuff. Like we can still look at Giz and on the show, and we can still look at Jazz and TBK. I'm sure they're going to be doing some other stuff, and they're not going away. They're still part of this community as ever,
right.
And you can still bother them on Twitter all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that this may affect other creators out there for podcasts or whatever, and it's tough. It's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like going, yeah, this isn't great for a lot of folks that are working at Blizz, but it's also not great for all the fans and all the creators and all that kind of stuff too. So we'll be seeing some ripple effects from
Absolutely.
This outside of Blizzard, which is also sad, but unfortunately we don't. What's that?
We're not going anywhere, right? The show's still good. LB is still good.
Well, we're leaving for the week.
Yeah, but we'll be back.
But we'll be back next week to talk about more stuff, because there is stuff that I really want to talk about. Like, I would much rather talk about, let's say, I don't know, WoW Arena or Overwatch League, or how awesome the first couple of weeks of AWC was, and how great Overwatch League was last week.
Yeah, the esports have been
right, and they're killer, and I want to talk more about those, and I want to talk more about how I'm actually having a great time in Battle for Azeroth. So I'm having a blast right now, and I'm having a good time playing Hearthstone and Overwatch and all that kind of stuff. The Paris map is awesome. So
Junker Watch.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about that next week. How does that sound? All right.
Sounds good.
Well, let me here. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll play this music. No, that's too happy. That's too happy. Hold on a sec. I'll play this music. No, that's too happy. That's too happy.
It's all happy music.
That's too happy. Yeah, I don't have any. Oh man.
No,
that's weird too. Oh gosh, I really don't have much. How about we'll play this. There you go.
I feel so much better now.
And we'll say, you know what, for all the guys at Convert to Raid, we'll see you next time. Until then, bye-bye everybody. Bye-bye.